Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for October 24th, 2016. Happy Monday. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now, basically, the ES is trading right at the center line of the key range. So we've been talking about the key range for some time, this impulse range from here to here, basically 2100 to 2190. Midpoint is 2144.95 or 75 rather. And that's right where we've been chopping around. At first we traded in the lower distribution here, then a little bit higher. Now we've been trading here, but we've mainly chopped around this 2145 for some time. So that's the major key pivot, obviously heading into the election cycle. Once we get this thing broken out from this range, we'll have some very nice extensions above and below the target. But until then, we're still kind of just chopping around, so you have to be very, very careful. There have been days with great intraday volatility, so there's been some great intraday moves, back and forth, pretty decent moves despite the fact that we haven't gone anywhere on a higher time frame basis. In this case right here, 2145 is very, very important. That's the first level to watch. If price cannot establish acceptance above there, we could be looking at a quick fade right back to 5-day VPOC. That's going to be 2135s, 2135.5. So right in that zone. So basically, we're going to be looking for signs of rejection, 2145s. If price cannot hold above that zone, which is also the previous week's high, there, we could be looking at a quick move right to the previous session's close and VPOC 35.5. Holding above that zone would basically imply that if you can see acceptance above 45, what we mentioned last week was there's a quick move into the upper 60s. So somewhere between 67, 68, somewhere in that zone, you could see a move even as high as 72. So right now, 45s is that level. So if price can establish acceptance above this zone, there's clear air into about 68 to 72. All right, let's take a look at the intraday time frame. Rather, let's look at crude oil on a higher time frame. Here it is. Okay, so we got the higher time frame crude oil chart. What we've been talking about is the 52s and how important it is. At level 51.67 is this high right here of that impulse move. We recently just saw price see expansion from that tightly coiled range into the upper part of the resistance there, and that's where it's holding. We spent one day above 52s trading around, and then we closed below it that day, never came back to it, and that's the first time we've tested it since July 2015. So right now, clear rejection up there, but we could be looking at another test soon. After this recent rally here, we've basically gone sideways and we've developed here. So any push downward, a new low into 49s could be a great buy opportunity this way. Any push into highs above here may be a short-term fade. But right now it's counter trend. All these short-term fades are counter trend rotations downward. The primary trend is up right now, even if we are at resistance. I would say 49s is the big time level. If we can't hold above 49s, then that opens up the door to a rotation back toward composite and micro composite VPOC 4560 to 4669. All right, let's take a look at the intraday time frame. Here we go. Dropping into the intraday, if it would drop into it. There we go. We see that the first things first, previous close. That's the previous session and the previous week's close. You see price goes offered. Price comes back to it and offered again. So basically didn't even test it all the way. Just offered, new lows. So right now, the early idea is that the previous week's close price, very important. They've already got bears there, but there's also buy stops above it. You can see it's been offered in that zone already multiple times here. So above 51s here, there's some buy stops. You also have the previous session's low, that's 50.21. You can see it right here. Look how price came below it, tried to hold and failed. That's short-term bullish. So right now, short-term, we could be looking at another move back across to the top end of the range into 51. I would say any pullback toward 50.21 wants to be defended for a shot higher. So it could be a squeeze of about 80 ticks into that area. If we cannot hold or keep maintain an acceptance above that 50.21, then we could be looking at more push to the downside. But right now, I would say 50-20 back toward 51 is likely a good buying opportunity to watch for that signs of rejection back up. All right, let's take a look here at gold futures. Here's gold. Let's take a look at the daily time frame with the weekly PivotBoss pivots. This one's needed a little bit of help here. Now, if we let's hide some of these drawings here. If we take a look at a cleaner chart here, price dropped into our first major target. We mentioned if it can't hold 1300, look for it to drop into 1252 to 1245, and boom, got that zone. And then it's hung around in that area and even tried to push a little bit higher. It's not a super bullish bounce that we would expect from gold. Usually when gold pulls back and holds, it usually sees an explosive move right out of the gate. Instead, this has been a more gradual lift with a pullback and a defense here. So right now, it's looking like it wants to try to push higher here, but it's not really, it doesn't have a whole lot of conviction right now. I would say that the next level up would be 1290, and then at that point, you may see a counter trend rotation. If there's any failure to hold above 1260, expect a retest back toward 1245. All right, let's take a look at the NQ now. Here's the NQ. The NQ has been bullish. We talked about it last week, Friday even, that the way that this looks here with these higher lows coming out day and day again, tails on this end of the range, and then you had price closing above that key level here. That key level is 46.40. Getting above that, remember, we talked about the fact that that looks like it has a squeeze potential to it. And that's what we're getting today. We're already squeezing above the previous close, pushing into the 25% weekly expansion target. And the next expectation would be for a push to new highs at some point here. The NQ has been much different looking than the ES for the most part. This one's always been near highs. The key level to watch though is 48.40. If for any reason price were to drop back below 48.40, that would be a clean opportunity to sell this thing, because that would be another rejection to follow this one. So that's going to be still the key level, but I think right now this thing is poised to test these higher prices above 4,900. Even if that happens, given the current pace of the market, the expectation would be for bears to defend and return prices back toward value. All right, let's take a look at the intraday time frame. Here we are. On an intraday basis right now, you can see the previous high, bid, previous close, bid. Price is pushing through right there. Very, very strong move. You can see how thin it is on the profile here with a little bit of a bulk here. I would say any counter trend rotation right now offers an opportunity for bulls to defend, even as low as 48.40, the key level. So price could come all the way into 48.40. I would still expect bulls to try and defend that for a shot at keeping it bid and pushing this thing into 4,900. So that could be a swing move opportunity if this thing were to get as low as here. But I think right now, the way that this looks here with a very thin profile, your LVN is starting around 48.60. It may come across the range in the 48.60-ish, but then I would expect bulls to return price back up. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out heading into the rest of the week. Good luck. Trade well.